Hello there everyone, your fluffy armchair admiral is back with some more hot ship action in another episode of Lots of Guns series about Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Before we begin today's episode, however, I'd like to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already and use that bell to make sure you won't miss out on any content from me. So, welcome in today's episode. We will be doing something different again. Once more, I like to make changes, I like to experiment with new things, so I hope you guys don't mind, especially that we are playing the game that is all about experimenting. So today we are going to experiment with accuracy, something that is the bane of existence of many of people that are playing this game and don't understand how accuracy in this game works, because obviously it's unlike many other games where you take control over your guns, a little bit more different, because you need to leave that to your gunners, and your gunners very often seems to be quite blind. They can't hit shit, and you need to help them do so. So today we are going to I am going to actually explain you a few things that you may improve, or a few things that you may change in order to improve your aim. So let's get into the game without any further delays. Let's jump into the designer. I just set up basic 1v1 battleship battle in 1896. It doesn't matter which nation you pick, because we are just going to highlight the build elements. I will highlight some gameplay elements that you may improve to get that good accuracy. Bear in mind, it doesn't guarantee you hits, it doesn't guarantee you that you will hit first, because enemy is also building its own ship. His build might be more efficient in terms of accuracy, but it might sacrifice something else, because it's all about sacrifices. You don't build this game, you don't build a ship in this game that will be like fully universal. It won't be the best at everything. You can build jack of all trades, obviously, but that ship won't excel in that particular manner. So if you want to build accuracy based ship, then you need to make sure you do everything in terms of accuracy, but you will sacrifice firepower, you will sacrifice defense, you will sacrifice your speed. You have to sacrifice something in order to gain something. So if you want to build a balanced build that will be fairly accurate and won't be too bad in terms of balance, you can always press auto design and the game will put something up together for you. In most cases, that ship will be very, very good and it will pretty much work. This one is not perfect, but it will act as a good base for us to actually talk about. So as you can see, this is like an example build from the AI, something that AI might put up against you, or something similar that AI might put up against you. So let's quickly analyze what AI did and what we could improve in order to get more accuracy. So first of all, things that will gain you bonuses for accuracy are towers. Yes, so rear and front tower. As you can see, they are giving you straight away some aiming speed bonuses, base accuracy bonuses, and depending on which one you select, let's go for main tower first. Let's delete this one. As you can see, there is range of improvements that we can make. We can just install a better tower. So let's say front tower 3, which is a straight away upgrade from front tower 2 or 1, which was installed here. I think it was 1, because of aiming speed of 3.5. So if we upgrade it to front tower 3, we are automatically increasing our accuracy, which at the moment stands at 24% at 1000 meters. Let's see if we can boost up accuracy of our guns. So what else will impact that accuracy that's visible on the table? Well, obviously rear tower. Secondary tower, if we upgrade it to secondary tower 3, again we got 1% more at a distance of 1000 meters and appropriate increase at longer distances. What else we can improve? Well, let's say I would like to improve my ship's balance, but I first need to install different funnels. Let's say I want this one. Okay, so that is helping me a lot. While my ship will be slower, it's gonna be much easier for me to work on balance. So let's drop some that weight offset. Let's move the guns around so we are still heavy to the front. Okay, so let's move this gun further to the back. Now we are getting too far. There we go. That's as far as we can go, and as you can see, we just improved the balance. And by improving the balance, even though it's not exactly reflected on 1000 meter mark, on 2500 meter mark, you can see improvements of accuracy, and we went up to 8%, which is again another improvement. Our ship became overweight because of the change of the funnel, so we need to counter that. Let's say we can't take more armor. Well, we can actually reduce armor, and let's see what happens then. So let me drop belt armor, which is very heavy. There we go, we are just at the limit. Our guns still present the same accuracy. That sounds good. Right, what else we can do? Well, we can get heavier shells, but again we need to work on our weight. So let's reduce belt extended. Let's reduce deck, which is extremely heavy armor. Why am I reducing deck? Well, depending on the time period, you might need thicker deck or thinner deck. Remember that getting better accuracy means getting slightly closer to the target, because that's one of the ways you can actually improve your aim, by just shortening the distance. And short distance battles will have one certain characteristics. You won't get as many deck penetrations as you could, because most of the shells will have flat trajectory and they will hit your belt armor instead. So you might want to invest in higher belt armor than deck armor. Obviously deck armor is still important as you are closing the distance. Shells will hit from the top, but they will in fact penetrate the deck. So if you have thick deck, obviously it's much harder to penetrate them. Anyway, what else we can do? We can check if we have torpedo launchers, which we do. We in fact have one torpedo launcher, which is amidship. So if we remove that, then obviously we saved up some weight. We can now spend some weight. We can obviously distribute the weight better. So we are heavy to the back, just slightly, so that is going to decrease our aim, but we will go to balance slightly later. The next thing we can improve to get better accuracy is obviously get those heavy shells, which we already did. And as you can see, at 1000 meters, our guns have 27% accuracy. At 2500 meters, they got 9% accuracy, and so on and so on. So we've already improved on that. Right, another thing that we can install or deinstall to improve accuracy is any of those modules. And you might think, how are they actually improve our accuracy? Well, it is very, very simple. Let's say double hull bottom, is that going to make a difference? Not much. So we will cover that later. Right. I think it's about time to actually cover it. Apart from installing all that equipment that will give you base like accuracy increase, for example, rangefinder is also a good way to invest on. Whenever you can build higher level or higher tech level rangefinder, just install it, because it's straight away upgrades to your guns. However, there are very important parameters that you need to look at in order to make a very well working ship. And if you haven't noticed yet, those ships are sailing on top of the water surface, which is not exactly the most even surface ever. So ships are subject to a certain swing that is called pitch and roll. Pitch is a swing along the ship's length. So if you imagine a center point being in the middle of the hull, right in the middle, in 3D model, so at the very bottom in the middle, preferably, you don't always get center of mass placed in the perfect spot. Usually it's much higher. However, in a perfect situation, let's say that one single point on which the ship sits on the water is in the right bank in the middle, if you imagine that, then obviously every single sea wave or any other element like turning or speeding up, slowing down, will cause this ship to swing while using this single point as a pivot point, yes? So with that swing, or amount of that swing, will be reflected in pitch and roll parameter in the game, and the game simulates that. So the best way to actually reduce pitch and roll is to put more weight near that center of mass and lower it, which means putting more weight in the middle, like getting better engines or heavier engines, while at the same time reducing weight on sides, so on bow and stern, reducing weight on starboard and port side as well, because that will cause bigger roll and pitch. So let's analyze that. Current build has longitudinal weight offset of 0.2, which is pretty negligible amount. As you can see, it gives us some penalties to our base accuracy, which are not that high. We get extra accuracy penalties from weather effects. We get some extra flooding chance and stuff like that. But because we balance the ship, those penalties are very small or almost non-existent. However, when you look at our pitch and roll, we start to see some increase in here. So we need to work on that. We need to reduce that penalties to the very minimum in order to gain extra accuracy from our guns. So a good way to reduce pitch is to put our guns closer together. What else we can do is to increase our speed. And as you can see, as I'm getting better speed up to, let's say, 36, if I could afford that, my pitch and roll went down to 11.6 and 10.4. Obviously we won't be able to squeeze out that much, but we can do quite a few other things that will help us to achieve that goal. Let's remove the range, let's increase the bulkheads, because that's our defense. I would like to trade that. And now we can work on our speed. 18 knots seems to be pretty much the midpoint. We can even try to squeeze out 19.5, 20 is a little bit over, 19.5. It's a good result. And now, as you can see, our pitch stands at 16.6 and 14.9. So the question is, can we do something else that could eventually help us reduce that? And the answer is yes. We can, let's say, remove some weight from the turrets. As you can see, our turrets are supported by advanced hydraulic system that is helping them reload, but it increases their weight. So if we decrease that weight, then obviously our pitch went down because the guns are lighter. We don't need hydraulic turrets yet. Enhanced reloading, again, that increases main guns and secondary guns weight. So if we reduce that weight, again, pitch went down, roll went down. So we currently stand at 15.7 pitch and 14.8 roll. Our guns will get a little bit more accurate, so we can make up more of our shots. Another thing that we can do is to reduce ammunition storage. Again, lighter storages underneath the guns will result in better accuracy. And as you can see, as soon as we reduced the amount of ammunition that we take, our ship is even better balanced because longitudinal weight offset went down to 0, which means that there are no penalties, which is very, very good. Another good thing that we can do is to think about changing our casemate guns. At this moment they are 4 inches, which is pretty good. Those are very, very good and well balanced guns for the time. However, if we would install 5-inch, which they are much heavier, as you can see, 4-inch casemates weight only 9 tons each. 5 inches weight 26, which is over twice more. So that is a huge change, and many times I can see builds from people that actually make that mistake, taking that 1 extra inch of caliber is making that much of a difference to your roll. If I would just change it, let me just quickly showcase it to you. It's gonna take a while, but that's how much toll it's taking on our roll. Remember, before I changed those guns, it was standing slightly above 10. Right now, it's nearly 3 times more, and our base accuracy penalties, and everything is skyrocketing. We really lose a lot by changing the caliber. So again, getting slightly lighter secondaries just to defend yourself from destroyers and lighter ships is a good idea. It's always a good idea to have some, but if you go too high with the weight, you will greatly suffer from a higher roll. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it's better to sacrifice that 1 inch and get better accuracy, especially that all we need those secondaries in this battle that they will be used for is to damage superstructure, because another thing that you need to remember, damage that you take during the battle will impact your accuracy. So if your main tower gets destroyed, you lose all those bonuses that it presents. If your secondary guns is destroyed, you lose all of its firepower. However, the weight stays, so that means that enemy ship will still be same as balanced, but it won't be able to gain extra bonuses for base accuracy, long range accuracy if the tower is destroyed. So if you have volume of fire, if you have plenty of small shells hitting that superstructure, you are very likely to destroy it, because your guns will take a lot of time to reload. So it's at this moment it's 75.5 seconds, so you need to bear that in mind. Right, so by balancing those and lowering pitch and roll, you can get that extra benefits. Right, another thing, if you want to quickly decrease pitch and roll, again I will repeat myself, put some more weight into the middle. So you can get, for example, heavier funnels, and that will help you. You can increase the speed of your ship. Again, as you can see, we can now crank it up to 21 knots, and our pitch and roll will slowly go down. How high we can go? 20.5. Can we go 21? Yes. So right now our pitch is at 14.4 and roll at 10.4. It is a great result. Is there anything else we can do? Well, we can mingle with armor values. Again, increasing belt armor, which is in the middle of the ship, will eventually have some impact on pitch. As you can see, as I'm increasing it, pitch and roll goes down because we are increasing the weight in the middle. Mingling with deck armor. Again, deck armor is super heavy, and it's also having a huge impact on your pitch and roll eventually. So you can fine tune it with extra armor. It's always good to have that extra armor. Obviously, increasing or decreasing turret armor will again impact pitch and roll, because if you make turrets lighter or lightly armored, pitch will go down. If you make them heavily armored, you distribute more weight to the sides of the ship or to its length, moving that weight from the center of the ship, and eventually you are increasing pitch and roll. So try to keep that in mind while designing your ships, and you will greatly improve your accuracy. Currently my base accuracy penalty stands at just above 6%. Let's see if we can lower it down below that value. So I would like to make my secondaries lighter to reduce the roll. Let's say secondaries can have 3-inch armor, and as you can see, that dropped down roll to 9.5, and my secondaries still weigh 9 tons. Anyway, turret top can go down to 2-inch. It is a very risky strategy, but as you can see, it dropped the pitch to 13.8. So now we are at 5.9% base accuracy penalty from the get-go. So we saved some accuracy. We actually got that extra accuracy that we wouldn't have if we would go for high caliber guns. Right, we are using reduced amount of ammunition, so we need to keep that in check, because longer engagements won't fit us. So again, the purpose of your ship and what it's gonna do is going to impact how well balanced it will be. If you need large amounts of ammunition to take with you, then obviously you won't be able to sustain longer engagements as I do, because at this moment, if I would get into very long battle, I would most likely not be able to carry that on, because eventually my ammunition would run out. Right, so I managed to set my pitch at 13.7, which is giving me minus 3.4% base accuracy, and my roll at 9.4, which is giving me minus 2.4% base accuracy. I find it a pretty good result. So that's pretty much it when it comes to build. Remember to experiment with various things, because anything that you will change, ranging from engines to protection equipment, armament equipment, extra equipment and armor, will impact pitch, roll, weight offset, and that will also have huge impact on your accuracy. So even though Citadel itself might not give you bonus to accuracy, it actually impacts such in a great way. Even your propellant makes a difference. As you can see, I'm now using ballisted, and my parameters are 0 longitudinal weight offset, 0 transverse weight offset, 13.7 pitch and 9.4 roll. And when I change it to black powder, pitch and roll went up because black powder is heavier. Right, let's go back to ballisted and let's dig into the battle, and let's analyze what we can do during the battle to actually get extra benefits while fighting. Okay, so the battle has loaded, and let's analyze the situation. First thing you need to do is obviously head towards enemy. Enemy is behind me, which is not very convenient, but well, we have to deal with it. And as my ship is making its turn, I can analyze the rest of the situation. First thing I'm doing usually is to look around to check if there is physical sun. Yes, you look at the sky and check if there is a sun. Why is that? Because whenever you are aiming in direction of the sun, so if enemy has sun behind them, I'm getting accuracy penalty. It's not large, but reflection of the sun in my aiming devices will give me some accuracy penalty. Another thing that we need to note is direction of my smoke. So my smoke is currently moving to the west. So if I would aim to the west, I'm getting smoke obstruction penalty, as you can see on your left side of the screen in that panel. There is minus 20% smoke obstruction penalty. So aiming whenever or wherever else won't give me that penalty. It saves me my accuracy. Another thing, worth noting, yeah, your positioning against the enemy actually makes a lot of difference. Another thing that will give you some penalties and bonuses to accuracy is actual weather. So you can check it right next to the compass, and as you can see, weather is currently standing at evening, which is still daytime. It's evening, but it gives you already minus 15% accuracy from the get-go. Remember that weather is giving the same penalties to both sides. However, you can neglect some of those penalties by balancing your ship and by installing equipment that will neglect such. So for example, in later technologies, radar will reduce the penalty that you get from a nighttime or time of day, because effectively you can track the enemy regardless if it's night, day, if it's sunny weather, if it's rainy day, if it's whatever. There are some limitations to the radar, but obviously it will give you that accuracy penalty, and it will neglect this element. Clear weather, again, it gives me plus 5% accuracy bonus, which is something that makes me happy. Wind is calm, so it won't be like throwing the smoke all the way around. If we would have some sort of like a heavy wind blowing into northeast, probably my smokestack would be blown right above my ship, and I would constantly keep getting that aiming penalty as long as I keep enemy at a certain direction. Another thing, sea waves, again, they are smooth. It gives me just slight accuracy penalty, which is being increased by any pitch or roll that I have. So remember that actual base accuracy penalty is at 2.5%, but if you look at the panel, actual penalty that you get from smooth sea waves because of our pitch and roll stands at minus 3.4. So that's how it works. You need to bear that in mind, and that will definitely improve your aim along the line. Okay, we managed to make contact with the enemy. So now that we start to aim at the enemy, we can see all the bonuses and penalties we get. So we get penalty for 2 barrels turret tech, which is normal. 2 barrel turrets are less accurate than 1 barrel turret. However, it is just base accuracy. If you think about it, you actually have slightly higher chance to hit using 2 barrel turrets, because you are firing 2 shells. Each shell gets its own chance. So as long as difference between those accuracies of 1 and 2 barrel turrets is smaller than like 10%, then I wouldn't bother to install a single barrel turret. However, single barrel turrets helps you save a lot of displacement, which makes your ship differently balanced. So you need to decide on your own what your ship is going to do and what kind of penalties you have to take. So we got this penalty. Our hull stability and tower is giving us just very slight penalty of minus 0.6, which is perfectly fine. Our own maneuver is causing us to lose some accuracy, and target maneuver is causing us to lose some more accuracy as well. So again, something that we need to remember. If you want to gain some accuracy bonus, you need to stop maneuvering. But you need to maneuver in order to put yourself in a better position. So those are sacrifices you need to take. But you need to plan ahead. You need to make sure that when you finish your maneuver, you are in a very comfy position to start massacring your target. Obviously, penalties from the weather also applies. Bonuses from the weather also applies. And there is another parameter that's called target ship size. So the bigger the enemy ship is, the bigger the benefit you're gonna get from its size. Right now we suffered a damage because enemy scored a lucky hit on us from 13-inch guns, which was quite significant, and we suffered from some damage, and right now we began to receive damage instability penalty. It will go lower as our crew is getting some slight repairs in place, and eventually that damage instability will go away as long as we don't take any further damage. But for now it's putting us at disadvantage. Also, some of our guns are still aiming at target. Some of our guns are not able to fully aim at enemy, so we are getting a massive aiming in progress penalty, which will go away as soon as we will able to fully aim and lock the target. So that's something that requires us to be patient about. For now we can only do what we can do. Another thing that we can do to get some extra accuracy is to set our speed to cruise speed. Right now our ship is sailing at cruise speed anyway because we slowed down while making a turn, but we might want to set it all the way down. So on your speedometer you've got that white area that marks your cruise speed, which is usually a full ahead. So if you set your desired speed to that, your ship will aim to keep that speed. If it keeps it for long, you get on cruise speed accuracy bonus. As you can see, it's not something that you would ignore. It's plus 20%. So it perfectly balances out with damage instability that we suffered and the fact that our guns are still aiming. It's pretty much neglecting all that penalties that we suffered. So right now it's in fact increasing our chances to hit the target. Right, now that we identified the target, we can also do another thing to help us aim better. We can analyze the target, we can analyze its speed. So enemy is moving at 15.1 knots and we are pretty much at parallel course to it. So I would like to keep it. So we can always manage our speed to actually match enemy speed. Then our gunners will have less corrections to make between each shot because positions of our ships between each other won't change that much. As you can see, we scored another hit on enemy, we caused some damage instability to him, and his guns were bigger but a little bit less accurate. So we can benefit from that. As you can see, enemy has only 8% chance to hit, which is still a chance, and he might get that lucky roll. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you get bigger guns, you score that one lucky hit and you put enemy down and there's nothing you can do. That's the beauty of this game. Apart from elements that you can have control over, like your speed, your positioning, there are things that you have no control over, and you can just pray that there is no lucky hit that will detonate my ammunition. There is no lucky fire that will cause explosion of such ammunition in the magazine, which can happen. Those are those flash fires. So if you suffer from those, sorry, hard luck. It happens. There is that random element that makes every battle unique. Otherwise, I would just make one build for every single time period, and I would be able to tell what kind of result I'm gonna get every single time. And that lack of predictability that we are getting is definitely making this game much funnier. Anyway, let's get back to accuracy. As you can see, my secondaries keep damaging enemies' tower, and they keep setting enemy on fire, which is helping us a little bit. Thanks to that, enemy is suffering from damage instability constantly. We can check his penalties and bonuses by selecting him and aiming at our ship. So he's suffering from almost 8% floating instability. Damage instability is being kept at 2%. It's getting better, and Right now enemy scores overpen, destroying one of our casemate guns, but it shouldn't be that much of a damage. Yeah, we suffer from 5% damage instability, which we immediately started to repair. Our own cruise speed bonus is getting lower because I need to slow down to match enemy speed, but enemy is closing the distance. So my guns currently have 12% accuracy, is it? No, my guns currently have 16% accuracy, in fact. Let me just select that, okay. There we go, now we can, no, we still can see our enemy. Right, how do I do that? I think it's, no, how do I check it? Yeah, our guns are locked and they have 18% accuracy anyway. Our 5-inch guns, wow, where do I get 5-inch guns? See, I missed those, and I got some 3-inch casemates, so eventually I could have balanced those as well. I completely missed those guns. I don't even know where they were. Anyway, we do have them, so we have to deal with them. We managed to balance our ship regardless if we have them or not, but our 4-inch casemates, as you can see, they are still getting 18% accuracy. So we are constantly damaging enemy ship. We are doing some damages. We are causing damage instability. If we select enemy battleship, oh, sorry, I jumped accidentally. Oh, we suffered heavy damage, but enemy also suffers from some damage. So hopefully we will be able to balance it out, and that we will be able to overcome the enemy first. Unfortunately, enemy hit us in the right moment, causing a massive flooding and massive damage to our ship. That's this random element that obviously we can't overcome. Enemy had better guns, and that lucky shot that he scored definitely is paying a lot of its toll. I can order my ship to try to speed up as soon as possible, regardless of that broken engine, but I first need to overcome the flooding, and I need to overcome the fires which are spreading across my ship. And that damage instability and flooding instability that enemy caused is definitely not helping us to actually win this battle. However, I am still hoping for some good hits on enemy, and perhaps we can cause some extra floodings, because enemy seems to have very poor protection from such, and within a time we will eventually pump out the water from our ship. And unfortunately that wasn't a good hit. We still need to try our luck, and hopefully we can get some better. Right now enemy managed to close the distance enough to get quite good accuracy from his 13-inch guns, which I'm really scared of. If he's gonna score one more lucky hit, then I'm done for. So this one looks really scary, and he missed, and hopefully there won't be any more hits. Ooh, another hit. No. Okay, so he failed to kill us, but his accuracy went up. Question is our accuracy good enough to put him less stable? If we score a hit with our next salvo, we might see a switch in the battle ties. If not, we will probably sink after next successful enemy salvo. We managed to pump out some water from one of the flooded compartments, so again our ship is switching the balance. It will happen because damage control is a thing in this game, and we scored a hit. We caused a flooding in the rear section of enemy ship, which is definitely going to put his aim off, and as you can see already his aim is going down as his compartments are being flooded. In fact, he was having so poor flooding protection that another shot sunk him, and we succeeded and won the battle. So regardless of having smaller caliber guns, we managed to overcome the enemy. We managed to break his ship before we sank ourselves. Obviously good protection of your ship and good maneuvering could play a large role in this battle, because we could have, for example, bounced a little bit more shots by angling against the enemy. But that wasn't the point of today's battle. I wasn't highlighting you how to win the battle against all odds, because that's also possible in this game, at least somewhat. If you get really crappy ship and enemy gets a godlike masterpiece, there is no way you can win that. But very often with certain things that you do in the battle, you can win it against all odds. In this case, we were focusing on accuracy, and we did pretty good job. So remember, trying to stay on the stable course, trying to keep your speed within your cruise speed, or at least match it with enemy speed if he's very slow, is going to eventually give you accuracy bonus. Letting your guns to aim at single target is also going to give you accuracy bonus. However, you need to protect yourself from extra damage that you might take, because every single damage that you sustain or that you take is going to drop off your accuracy. So that's another point worth noting. So well-balanced ship at the beginning might give you an edge by eventually allowing you to score a first hit. Managing your speed both early and later on in the battle will help you to keep enemy at a good distance, and as well as will help your gunners to score those hits. The more hits you score, the sooner you will eventually sink the enemy, and even if you won't sink him after first shot, you will cause damage instability that will drop off enemy's aim, making your life easier, giving you a few extra minutes or seconds to think about your strategy. If you want to retreat or do whatever, you can make those decisions. You give yourself a comfort of having control over the battle. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to get informed about my new content, hit that notification bell button, and don't forget to share your comments down below. Have a great day and see you all later. Later. Out.